Hi, I'm Christopher Yoke with Yoke Pin Company, and today we're going to deal with adjusting an oblique pin holder. There's lots of videos out there like Dr. Joe Vitolo that did the angles and such. What I'm going to deal with is how to adjust it so it fits your particular nib, because it seems like there is not any source of that out there whatsoever. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using round nose needle nose pliers. Everyone that's a pinman should have one of those in their toolbox. Second thing is just a normal pair of needle nose pliers. And the third thing is a small jeweler screwdriver. What you're wanting to do when you're adjusting your holder is to get the arc of the nib to match the arc of the brass flange. One of the easiest ways to tell is to actually hold it underneath it, and you'll see that it's like, for example, this one. This is too large. This is a Leonard principal nib. So what we're going to need to do is decrease the space in the arc and make it smaller so that it fits this particular nib. You'll see that trying to insert it is just impossible because it's not at all of the same arc. So what you can do when it's large like that is you take your round nose needle nose pliers and you're going to twist, basically working it this way. You want to do it in small steps. The other key point is to hold your nib holder on both sides of this brass tightly in your hand so that the wood doesn't split. So we'll hold it, going to grab it with the needle nose pliers and gently twist and work it so that the arc is smaller. This is just something you experiment with, and you keep going in little steps until it fits. So we'll do it again. Maybe. There we go. Now you'll see that the arc is closer to this nib. See how they match? And it's going to be easier to slide in. If, say for example, you receive your flange and it is too tight, so what I'm going to do is squeeze this down just to make it too tight. And you'll see that now it's just way too tight. You're not going to get it in there. There's not enough space. So again, holding your holder in between so the wood doesn't split, you're going to insert a little screwdriver and you're going to twist just slightly. You don't want to do it extreme or you'll kink and make it not round any longer. See that now there's enough space. I can get the nib slid into it. The other way of doing it, if you have a nib, is I save like this. This is an old used nib, no longer good for writing, but I keep them. And the reason that I keep them, and I keep a lot just because I do so many, is I grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers, and you can actually, with a little bit of force, if it's too tight, push it in there, force it in. To make it fit your nib, then you're going to want to twist it back and forth, up and down. That's going to expand the brass slightly so that it's easier to go in and out of that brass flange. And there's a fine line. I mean, you don't want it so loose that it moves, but you'd also want it easy to remove and insert a new nib so that you're not damaging the nib every time. Like that one's a little bit tight. And now it should quite easily fit in there. This is why so many pinmen have so many oblique holders, is the fact all of this adjusting has to happen for each time you put a nib inside of it. Alright, and then the last thing is you want it to be, I always use a toothpick. It gives me a visual reference. I find the center point of the holder, and then I hold the toothpick out to give me a visual reference of the center axis of the pin holder. So this needs slid out a little bit, and once it's slid out, it's going to be at that center axis. Once it's there, something you can do to make it easier to always hit that point with your holder is on the back side. You find the back part of that flange, and you're actually going to squeeze and crimp it. And what that does is it provides a stopping point. When you insert the nib into it, you're going to feel a little bit more force when it hits that stopping point. Now I know that it's at that stopping point. I hold up my toothpick. There it is at its axis again. Now we've covered if it's too wide, rolling it down. If you receive your holder, and I'm going to squeeze this down, and the arc is too tight like that, that's really dramatic, but it gives you the point. You're just going to do the opposite to make it match the arc. You're going to unroll it. And the key to this is having these little round nose that keeps you from putting flat surfaces or indentions into the brass flange. Once it's unrolled, then it is not quite adjusted yet. I went a little bit too extreme with it. Once that happens, there it is. You can again slide it in. You know, the brass is very forgiving. You can do a lot of manipulation with it. Just to give you an idea, we'll go really, really, really extreme with this. I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to just show you how forgiving it is. I've almost flattened it out. Now granted, I'm being a little excessive with force here, so I'm actually crimping the nib, flange, and everything else, but I can easily replace it. So, and it'll do that. It'll go through extreme bending, and it'll be, you know, fine. The thing you want to avoid is constantly bending it over and over and over throughout the life of the brass. It will eventually weaken it to the point to where it'll split. So just get your holder adjusted to your particular nib that you're using, and if you need another one, you're going to have to buy another holder. It's just extends that life of the flange so that it lasts forever. I think that pretty much covers everything I was wanting to get through and show everybody, since there is no source for this out there that I've found, at least. And if you need to know after this how to adjust the angle of your nib so that it sits properly on the paper, like I said at the beginning, Dr. Joe Vitolo did an excellent video on this, and if you search for adjusting your premium oblique holder on YouTube, you will come across a video, and he'll show you how to get it all set so it's ready to write. I think that's it. Well, thank you.